I know what he said.
You heard it? You seen the video?
I know what he said. He said when he finally faced me, I beat him.
Oh, dang. So that's gonna happen?
Oh, wow. Wow.
Not just acknowledge reality that Mike Tyson was an old, broken man.
Floyd Mayweather doesn't wait for the bell to ring before he starts fighting. Oh no. Money Mayweather has been throwing psychological jabs at Mike Tyson so hard and so fast that Iron Mike might already be on the canvas before he even laces up his boots. Mayweather has been openly, gleefully, almost sadistically mocking Tyson's training footage.
Oh, she did it. What? Oh, that's good. Let's hook. Yeah. Woo! We fight. We stay here. Beautiful. Good boss. I get it. I like that. I always want to try and catch you down here. Oh, yeah. Ah! Dude, that's the match, huh? Yeah, that's what. How we gonna do this?
Laughing at his stamina, questioning his conditioning, and essentially broadcasting to the entire world that what he sees in those workout clips is not a man preparing for war. It's a man preparing for a very long nap. And here's the devastating part. Mayweather might not be entirely wrong.
So much bigger than him.
Yeah,
he's
but
so much bigger than him.
he's not going to land a fist on Mayweather.
Right.
It's not after his last performance. You know, I think Tyson just needs
What do
to
you think was going on with that, the last one? It looked a little bit like sparring.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was scripted.
Yeah.
I ain't never seen Tyson biting his gloves and, like, you could just, it was taking all that he could not to, like, hit him. And it was just like, it's heartbreaking to see a icon go out like that.
Yeah.
You know, and
Because when you watch Tyson grinding through those training sessions, huffing through sparring rounds, and pushing through heavy dumbbell circuits, there's something undeniably visible that no amount of hype or nostalgia can hide. Fatigue. Raw, bone deep.
I give you money. Are you crazy?
Only 12. That's all we want. To the middle. 1, 2, 3.
A little slow on the way down.
4. There we go. 9. One more.
And slow.
10. No problem. Great set. Best set yet. Final round. Last one. Nice and strong. 30 times. Touch and go. 1, 2. Here we go. 3, 4. Nice. 5. Yes, sir. 6, 7.
Strong.
8. Strong.
9.
I got this.
We go.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's go. 8, 9. One more. 10. Nice work, Mike. Yes, sir. Great work.
58 years of living fatigue. Mayweather clocked it. He announced it publicly. And in doing so, he didn't just plant a seed of doubt. He detonated an entire doubt orchard. This is the mental warfare portion of the Mayweather playbook, and it is operating at championship level before a single punch has been thrown. Here's where things get genuinely uncomfortable, and we are going to talk about it because the world absolutely deserves to hear it stated plainly.
Either guy gets paid. Again, we talk about Mike and his past financial issues. I hope that that's not the same thing going on with him now, even though who knows how this man spends his money. He made a ton of money to fight Jake Paul, and good for him. His name value carried that fight, and it did a crazy number. I'm sure he'll make a crazy number here, but Floyd Mayweather is the one that seems like he needs the money more right now. Our guy, Andreas Hale, wrote a story that is kind of went somewhat viral. That's crazy, the laugh faces. Although Floyd Mayweather Jr. made hundreds of millions of dollars from his professional boxing career and topped the Forbes list as the highest paid athlete from 2012 to 2014, the boxer is said to have been shortchanged and filed a multi-million-dollar lawsuit against Showtime. The lawsuit filed Tuesday and obtained by ESPN, seeks to recover hundreds of millions of dollars, misappropriated funds, and damages resulting from a long-running and elaborate scheme of financial fraud, breaches in fiduciary duty, and conspiracy orchestrated by Floyd J. Mayweather's former manager and advisor.
Mike Tyson is approaching 59 years old. 59. That is not a number anyone in combat sports history has ever attached to the phrase peak physical condition. And it's not just the age. It's the accumulating physical narrative that surrounds it like storm clouds around a mountain. The hip problems are not a rumor. They are not tabloid speculation. They are a documented, visible, genuinely concerning reality that keeps resurfacing in conversations about Tyson's readiness.
Fan base is always curious about the old-time fighters, which is why Tyson always gets views even today, because people are always curious about the Mike Tyson mystique, the Mike Tyson effect. So people that weren't able to be alive and wake up the morning of a Mike Tyson fight to know what that feels like, want to feel that today. I promise you, it's nothing like it was in 1989 with Tyson, no matter what you guys want to feel. But regardless, I think people get curious about that. And I think this is going to be sort of the same thing. There's nothing that's going to match the Mayweather-Pacquiao era of that time where they were flying and people wanted to see that fight. This is not going to be that feeling on the morning of. But like the champ said, on the morning of, whether you like it or whether you don't like it, I think you're gonna end up, ordering that pay-per-view or watching on Netflix, whatever.
This fighter whose hip is compromised cannot rotate properly, cannot generate the kind of explosive, short-range power that made Tyson the most feared man on the planet in his prime, cannot pivot, cannot cut angles, cannot launch the kind of devastating combinations that once made grown men weep before a fight even began. Add in the visible exhaustion from training footage, and what you potentially have is a legend walking into a situation where his body simply cannot honor the promises his heart is making.
Tyson-Floyd Mayweather fight exhibition is even more sad because you've already seen the illusion of what Mike has left is already gone. We saw it. Versus Jake Paul, he was limping on his way to the ring, probably got terrible hips, still strong as an ox, but how much can you really expect him to do anything versus Floyd? Couldn't really land on, he landed like 1 or 2 punches on Jake, but couldn't really do much with him. What's he going to try to do with Floyd Mayweather? Floyd's going to make him look silly in this exhibition, and it's going to look worse than what we saw with Jake because of, how small Floyd is. But Terrence Crawford said something interesting there as well. He said, I've never seen Mike Tyson bite his gloves like that. And I think Terrence Crawford is a pretty big historian of the sport. And I'm not saying he should know everything about it. I certainly don't. But Mike Tyson has indeed bit his gloves in this.
But, and this is important, Mike Tyson has been underestimated before. He has been written off before. He has been told before that he is finished, done, over, a ghost of former greatness. And every single time, Mike Tyson has found a way to remind the world exactly who he is. So write him off entirely at your absolute peril. Joe Rogan has entered the chat, and he is making an extraordinarily valid point that deserves serious attention.
The Atlas has spoken about this with Tyson and his career.
Questions out there, my son told me, about the thumb biting. Okay, thumb biting, right? And we're not talking about the thumb biting with your nephews or with your children or, with that stuff. We're talking about Mike Tyson biting his thumb during a car. First of all, that's something that he did in his amateur days, he did in his pro days, and now, of course, he did it again. That's something that he has done. And he's, for people that follow Mike Tyson, his career, they've seen it before. People are saying, oh, and Tyson's smart, he's witty. He knows what to say. He knows the image. He knows the importance of having that image, how important. That's why he got all the money. It wasn't about what he had left at 58. It was what maybe he might have, and the image, the skin.
Tyson is significantly larger than Mayweather. We're not talking about a slight frame difference here. We are talking about a naturally bigger, heavier, more physically imposing human being who carries knockout power in both hands and whose punch output, even today, remains legitimately terrifying. But here's where Floyd Mayweather smiles his infuriatingly confident smile and reminds everyone of the cold, hard physics of professional boxing. Speed beats size.
They have a history of bad blood between the two. Well, more so on the part of Mike Tyson. He just simply does not like Floyd Mayweather. They went through some things. They used to be cool. They used to be friends. And Floyd Mayweather even fought on Mike Tyson's cards. But now they have a strained relationship. And now they're going to fight an exhibition bout. This was... I don't even know what...
Movement neutralizes power. Ring IQ. That ethereal, genius-level understanding of space and distance and timing can make the biggest puncher in the room look like he's throwing punches through water. Mayweather has spent his entire career making larger, stronger, harder-hitting opponents look slow, confused, and frankly a little embarrassed.
There's other ways for...
But what did he get?
People.
He got at least 20, right?
Yeah, but still, I think...
I think he needed
all
that money.
Yeah, but with all his connections and things like that, I think people could have put him in the right position to make some money.
If he's got people with him that are looking out for his best interest. But you know how it is. When there's a guy like that, that's a big name, usually everybody around him pretends they're looking out for their best interest, but there's always lawsuits later on. You find out someone was stealing money or not paying him what he deserved. There's always a bunch of shit involved.
Yeah.
You know, unfortunately, especially if you're not business-minded, which I don't know if Mike is, but most fighters aren't. Most fighters concentrate on fighting. To be business-minded, that's a giant distraction. You got to pay attention to all this other shit. On top of that, it's generally not how they think.
Right.
You know? I mean, look at Floyd. Like, Floyd spends money like...
His defensive mastery is not just good. It is historically unprecedented. His shoulder roll, his reflexes, his almost supernatural ability to not be where the punch is going. These are not skills that erode the way muscle mass and stamina do. The terrifying possibility, terrifying for Tyson fans at least, is that Mayweather doesn't just win this fight. He makes Tyson look like he's moving in slow motion. He makes Tyson's enormous natural advantages evaporate inside a boxing ring the way they have always evaporated against elite technical fighters. And that, more than any physical concern, might be the most damaging outcome of this entire spectacle. Now let's talk about what is really fueling this entire carnival. Because let's not pretend for even a single second.
Unlimited amount of money. Money's just flowing. And even as much money as he's made in his career, which he's probably made as much, if not more money than any boxer ever. Like, there's all these lawsuits. Like, he hasn't been paying things, and he owes money on this and owes money on that. And it's like, and then he's got to come out of retirement.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough. I think it's just the lifestyle that Floyd lived.
Yes.
I think he can't fathom to just live a modest lifestyle. It's like he gotta be lavish.
Right. He's got to have those videos where he shows you all the watches, where he opens the case up, you know.
All the money. He got to show that he got $1 million in his backpack. And, you know, he got the latest watch and the latest car and look what I just bought.
And when you get into latest watches and latest cars, you get into that shit. Like, boy, that money goes quick.
As far as size goes, Roy is still bigger than Floyd, but as far as that goes, he's still fought that made his name at 54, 60, 68, and 75, right? Now, he did go up to heavyweight, but they've been going back and forth. They've been jawing back and forth and going viral, going at each other. That would make more sense. I don't know where this came from and how this even came about, but we're going to get Floyd Mayweather in 2026 versus Iron Mike Tyson in the exhibition bout. Two legends, they're going to get their money. I guess Netflix is just looking to put out big money. I'm hearing that it's going to be on Netflix, right? It's going to be interesting to see how this unfolds and plays out. But this came out of nowhere. It's just bizarre.
That pure sporting competition is the primary engine here. Both men are arriving at this event with enormous financial motivations, and the stories attached to those motivations are absolutely wild. Floyd Mayweather, a man who has earned hundreds of millions of dollars across a career of legendary proportions, has reportedly been embroiled in financial disputes serious enough to spawn multi-million-dollar lawsuits against Showtime. Let that sink in for a moment. One of the highest-paid athletes in the history of professional sports, a man who literally nicknamed himself Money, has been in legal battles over finances. It adds a layer of complexity to the public persona that is equal parts shocking and utterly fascinating.
Exhibition, F it. You might as well. I want to say this, though. If you guys thought Mike Tyson was pulling punches against Jake Paul and that wasn't real, well, he ain't gonna pull no punches against Floyd. Like, that dude has shown that he hated. Remember his fake punch at Floyd? Floyd ain't moved, though. legend joining us tonight. Balls of iron. But if Iron Mike Tyson threw it, he got balls of iron. Legend joining us tonight. Exhibition, F it. You might as well. I want to say this though. If you guys thought Mike Tyson was pulling punches against Jake Paul and that wasn't real, well, he ain't gonna pull no punches against Floyd. Like, that dude has shown that he ate it. Remember his fake punch at Floyd? Legend joining us tonight. Floyd ain't moved though. Legend joining us tonight. Balls of iron. But if Iron Mike Tyson threw it, he got balls of iron. Legend joining us tonight.
And Tyson? Tyson's entire financial story is one of the most dramatic, jaw-dropping, rise, fall, rise narratives in sports history. A man who earned hundreds of millions, lost it all in spectacular fashion, rebuilt himself through sheer force of personality and cultural relevance, and continues to command enormous paydays simply because his name alone carries more electricity than most active fighters. Both men need this. Both men want this. And that mutual financial hunger is going to make for a very interesting dynamic inside that ring. Here is perhaps the most genuinely revolutionary aspect of this entire event, and it deserves to be shouted from rooftops. This fight is streaming on Netflix, not pay-per-view. Not a $79.99 gate that limits the audience to dedicated fans willing to open their wallets on a Saturday night. Netflix.
Mayweather taking on Mike Tyson, and then
Supposed to be an exhibition.
Yeah, and then
Rocky IV.
Hey, I know it well. I remember the towel. That was traumatizing for me as a kid. But the other side of it, of course, Ruslan Provatnikov, Manny Pacquiao. You fought two of those guys, right? You fought Ruslan Provatnikov, fought Manny Pacquiao. One of the things that doesn't go away is Ruslan Provatnikov can crack. You talked about how heavy-handed he was. Mm-hmm. Is there anything that could happen in April that could, if not derail, diminish this? And provided nobody gets hurt, which we don't want to see. But this idea that, is there any way either guy could look so washed that we go, oh my God, this isn't worth watching? Could it diminish it at all?
Absolutely. I don't think that's going to happen. The reason is because Ruslan was the third choice for this. Juan Marquez was reached out to, Tim Bradley was reached out to. I'm talking for the exhibition with Pacquiao. Those two turned it down. Then they asked for
standard subscription, available to every single person on the planet who already pays for their monthly streaming service. This is a seismic strategic shift in how major combat sports events can be packaged and delivered. Mayweather's 2015 mega fight against Pacquiao chased record-breaking pay-per-view numbers and achieved them, but at the cost of accessibility. Millions of people who would have watched simply couldn't or wouldn't pay the premium price. Netflix eliminates that barrier entirely. The global audience potential for this event is genuinely staggering, and the ripple effects for how boxing, and combat sports more broadly, distributes major events going forward cannot be overstated. And you know what?
Probably in April, but in a different location. And it sets them up on the same time schedule where if they're going to do a rematch, September 19th at the Sphere in Las Vegas. The fact that Netflix is doing it is not surprising at all. That's always been what they've been talking about doing. I think both fighters and everybody involved understands that it's one thing when everybody wanted to see the fight in 2015, he put it on pay-per-view and it's going to be a blockbuster, which it was. They charged $100 for the pay-per-view, the biggest price ever for a pay-per-view. And it set every conceivable record that you could think of in terms of gate, boxing, pay-per-view buys, overall revenue, the sponsorships, the merchandise. You pick a metric and it broke the record. That would not be the case now, 11 years down the road, since they first fought in 2015. So they needed somebody to put up big money, and it really fits the profile.
There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. Sport has always been partly theater. The greatest fights in boxing history were always as much about narrative and drama as they were about pure athletic competition. This fight has both in abundance. And even if the competitive outcome feels predetermined to some,
and whatever you want to say about it, maybe not for guys like me or you who are involved in doing boxing related stuff on a daily basis, but for the regular person that's scrolling through Netflix to see what's on a weekend night, they're going to look and say, oh, Mayweather, Pacquiao, I know those guys. They're as famous as any boxers in the world. And if it doesn't cost me any extra money and I'm just paying my normal subscription, yeah, I'll check it out. And it's going to do big numbers. That's why Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson did the numbers it did. And that's why, we saw them be interested in a fight like Jake Paul against Anthony Joshua and the other events that they have done. Tyson Fury's comeback as they try to, build up more in the UK. And this is going to be the same situation. They put out a lot of money to do the fight, but not as much as what obviously they generated in 2015. And, it will be, it'll be a big event, but how much of a fight it will be, who the heck knows? But I mean, to answer the question, I'm not like looking forward.
The experience of watching these two icons share a ring will be something millions of people remember for a very long time. The predictions may lean heavily toward Mayweather. The concerns about Tyson's physical condition may prove entirely valid. The bout may ultimately serve more as a showcase of Tyson's enduring legend than a genuine contest of skills. But in boxing, in this glorious, unpredictable, absolutely insane sport, the knockout punch has a way of arriving precisely when nobody expects it. And that possibility, however slim, is exactly why every single one of us will be watching.